Welcome to the Let's Talk BS podcast. I'm Bryan.
And I'm Sofia, and we're coming to you live from the
757.
Good morning, Bryan.
Hey, good morning, Sophia. How you doing this morning?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you?
Doing good. Black History Month, you know? February 2nd, right? Yeah, 2nd.
Yeah, today's the 2nd.
Okay.
2 things have happened so far. Had Groundhog's Day yesterday.
Yeah? Well, no, today. This morning.
No, today.
This morning,
and then yesterday was the beginning of Black History Month.
Yeah.
So it's an exciting month.
Yeah. Like I said, I always say, they give us Black History Month, and it's the shortest month of the year. I'm pretty sure that's not a coincidence.
Oh, absolutely not.
Sure.
Did you know that at one point in history, there used to be 13 months?
Never knew that. Never knew that.
Google it.
What was the name of the 13th month?
I don't know.
Oh, wow.
I don't know. But
and why did they change it? I guess that's the question I want to know too. Why they changed? So hold on.
I read a little bit about it, but
so I'm assuming it was less days in each month.
Yeah.
Okay, so they took 1 month out and just kind of made every month about 30, 31 days.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, I saw it I saw it somewhere, and then I went and looked, and apparently it was a thing.
Okay.
Yeah, 13 months it used to be.
I'll have to check that out.
I guess maybe when they figured out how much time it takes for the sun to get around the earth.
They probably changed it or something.
No, is it the sun around the earth? No, it's the earth around the sun.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah,
I said it backwards.
Yeah, you did. You did. The earth rotating around the sun. Yeah.
My kids get on me because when it comes to astrology, I'm like, that type of astrology, I'm like,
Yeah.
It's not my thing.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So that's what's up. I didn't know that. That's cool. And then I know we just mentioned Groundhog Day as well. So it was funny this morning. We were watching TV, getting the kids ready for school, and they had mentioned it on TV. They were like, "Hey, the groundhog did not see its shadow, so spring is coming, sooner, right?" And then so my kids were just like, they didn't know what a groundhog was, so I was trying to explain to them. It was like kind of like a little beaver looking animal, because they seen it on TV, and they were just kind of like, whatever. They didn't understand the concept. So I was sitting there trying to explain it to my son and my daughter, and they were just like, they didn't understand. It was just so funny. They're like, is the shadow ever going to come back? Did he just lose it? Can he go find it? I'm like,
he go find it?
Right. It was just so funny kind of trying to have a conversation to them to understand the concept of where it came from. And then, also like, hey, it's not like, his shadow is never, ever going to appear. Like, it's just today is considered a Groundhog's Day. And that's just kind of an old, adage, old legend, tale, whatever you want to call it, or whatever. So, but I'm happy for it. My son was like, yeah, so that means we get to go outside and play more. I was like, yeah, that's kind of what it is. Spring weather is going to be here a little bit sooner than I guess what it normally would. And actually, it's been pretty warm, man. I don't know if it's cold in the morning, but in the daytime, it's been heating up. I was even looking at the weather next week. It's supposed to get up to like 70. So.
And we just had 70 weather last week?
Yeah. So I was hoping for snow this year. I think we talked about it on the last pod, but it looks like that's not going to happen.
I never hope for snow.
Yeah.
Never.
Yeah.
I will go to snow, but I'm not hoping for it to be here.
Yeah, I was hoping to
I
get
don't
some
like
snow.
shoveling snow. I remember, let me tell you, when my dad passed, and we were going through, like, I was taking care of him when he was in hospice, and we did hospice at his house. And so there was a nurse who came every single day, but I was the primary caregiver. So then when people would come, it was snowing. It was in January.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, 2-3 days ago marked 3 years that he's been deceased.
Okay.
So I had to go outside and shovel the driveway so people wouldn't fall trying to come and visit him.
Wow.
In the midst of all this. So
that's wild.
I do not like snow.
Yeah. No, I can understand
to
that.
another level.
Yeah, I can understand that. I understand that. Yeah, I like snow. Like I said, I like to experience all 4 seasons, and especially having young kids. I remember when I was their age and like being, playing it, and my kids want to make snowmen and all that, and I like to run around and fall in it and just do stupid stuff. But you're right, as far as like the shoveling of the snow, and I have a pretty big driveway. So, I remember I think it was 2-3 years ago when we had a pretty significant amount of snow. I remember like, you know, I almost bust my tail. Actually, the
Yeah.
shovel I had to go borrow one of my neighbor's shovel because the shovel I had just wasn't big enough. Like it was one of them smaller, you know, regular shovels where I'm sitting there for hours upon hours trying to do it versus getting one of them bigger.
What's a regular shovel? Like you talking about like a digging shovel? That's
Correct.
what you was using?
Correct.
Oh
Yeah,
Lord.
that's all I had. That's all I had. I had a digging shovel. So I'm in that joint.
A dirt shovel?
Getting about
You said
about
regular
1 foot
shovel. I was
wide.
like, nah, he ain't talking about
Nah,
it.
I'm talking about a digging shovel. I'm sitting here digging, hitting the concrete, you know,
Right.
not getting nothing up. So then my buddy, my neighbor, I think he was driving out the neighborhood or something.
And he had to call you.
He was like, yo, B, I got a bigger shovel, bro. You need it? I was like, look, in my pride, I normally be like, nah, I got you. I'm good, dog. I was like, yeah, I need that joint, dog. Let me get it. Let me get it. He's like, all right, I'm gonna call my wife and have her leave it on the side of the garage for you. So I went to his house and got it, and that joint, you know, obviously.
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. And then the trick to shoveling is that usually, I can't say for everywhere in the world, but usually when snow comes, it comes in the night or early morning before people start to get out.
Coldest. Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
And so you're supposed to shovel first thing when that first like layer comes.
Okay.
You shovel that up. Then that way that doesn't turn into ice, right?
Okay. Yeah.
And then usually snow will come later in the day, like afternoonish.
Yeah.
Or if it may snow like during the day, but you want to catch it when it's light.
Gotcha.
That's the trick to it. So
you're a professional snow.
What? Yes. So shoveler. Yes, I am a professional. That I do know how to do. I remember long day. Like you know how you guys here, you know, you go out and you cut grass and stuff like that.
Yeah.
We had snow a lot longer, so I was cutting grass and shoveling snow with my dad.
You was getting both sides of the coin. Then.
Yeah, I was the only. Okay. I basically was the only child in the house. I mean, I have 2 siblings, but they're like
Yeah.
So I was the only kid in the house.
Yeah.
I didn't, at the time, I didn't like cooking and doing all the cleaning stuff inside the house. So guess where I was at? With my dad.
Makes sense.
But in honor of, you know, Groundhog's Day and him not seeing his shadow and spring coming earlier, I do want to highlight someone in Black history named Lonnie Johnson, born in 1949 till present. He is the inventor of the Super Soaker water gun.
Oh,
so sweet. I cannot wait.
Do they still sell those? They still sell them, right? Okay. Cool.
What?
I was just asking. I mean, I used to, growing up, I mean, you know how things like, generations like things like the evolution of stuff and they change things or whatever. So I remember I used to play with the Super Soaker all the time, man. That joint was fun. Like, it was real fun. I used to get in trouble. I mean, I used to get in trouble, you know, because I shot one of my buddies in his eye and the water got in his eye and he was crying. He was a little wussy a little bit, but.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm pretty sure you would cry if you got hit. A Super Soaker, it comes out pretty fast.
But that wasn't like I was like right on my man.
But
like, we was in a good distance.
But it was probably.
It ain't no different from like getting water in your eye like in the pool.
No.
Well, you're right. I mean, I guess it's just shooting.
Depending on like how it hit his eye, I can see that hurting.
Out. Yeah, he was freaking out. I remember it. Like I remember to this day because I rarely got in trouble growing up, and like he was freaking out. And then we told his mom told my mom, like, yo, like, bro, like it's not that serious.
Yeah,
like,
this is normal.
And he was shooting me with it. It won't like we were playing with it together, and I guess I just got him good. I got him better than what he got me.
Yeah.
But shout out to Lonnie though, you know, the Super Soaker, man, for sure.
So what's been going on this past week?
Let's see. Last weekend was a pretty busy weekend for me. I went to Brooke actually took Niall to Now You're Cooking. I think I mentioned that to you before on here on the podcast. That's where we had Niall's birthday at last year. It's a Black-owned cooking place, right? And they teach kids to cook different recipes and all that. So they made scones and muffins. And because Niall had been asking to get back there, so he went there Saturday morning. He really enjoyed it, you know, made some actually really good scones and muffins, came home, I ate some of them. And then Sloan had a birthday party as well, so that was cool. And then also on Saturday evening, we all went to the ODU basketball game, so that was pretty cool as well. ODU unfortunately lost. They're having a tough year this year.
I've seen a lot of people there. I think I seen like Cavell there and
Yeah, Cavell went to the I
and
didn't.
some other people too. A lot of people posted about that ODU game.
Yeah, so Cavell actually went to the girls' game. You know, he has 4 girls, so I'm assuming he was probably leaning into more of the girls' side.
Oh, okay.
The girls' game was the night before, so the girls had a game on Friday night, and then the boys played Saturday night. So it was pretty cool. Like, it was me, Brooke, the kids. It was my sister, her boyfriend, and my cousin as well, who's stationed here, who's been here for a couple of years now. We all went out, and shout out to Heather that works here at at Atlantic Bay. She hooked us up with the tickets. We had like the club seats, so we had like the really nice seats or whatever. And as far as like the refreshments, all that stuff came with it. So shout out to Heather, appreciate that. But yeah, that was cool. Saturday was a busy day, but it was fun. We had a really, really, really good time. Sunday, Niall had us another basketball game. They won, close game again. It was 12-10. He scored again.
Okay.
So he's been balling. He's excited. He's been doing very, very well. Literally, like I said, every single day we play basketball. So he really is starting to take a liking for basketball. So I'm excited for him for that. And yeah, then Sunday night, my 49ers, they had a game. They had a game against the Detroit Lions. I had a couple of the fellas over.
No, they didn't play the Lions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 49ers played the Lions.
They did?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Yeah. The 49ers played the Detroit Lions because there was 4 teams left. It was the Kansas City Chiefs played against the Baltimore Ravens, and the Chiefs beat the Ravens.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And then the 49ers played the Lions. And it's cool because my buddy who was actually on the last week's podcast, Sherman, he's a 49ers fan. And then our other buddy that's in our neighborhood, Shal, he's a Detroit Lions fan. He's from Detroit, through and through, Detroit native. So he came over to the house, and so somebody was going to be mad, right? I mean, it was inevitable, right? And the 49ers started off really, really bad. We were getting beat down. We were down 24-7.
I wanted Detroit to win so bad, but I didn't even realize that. Because I didn't watch that game. I actually watched the Ravens and the Chiefs play.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so that game started at 3? It didn't end till 6:15. Yeah. So after that, I was like, "Yep, that's enough football for me today."
Enough in one day.
Yes. So then 6:30 came. That's when the second game started.
Yeah.
So I think I watched like the first 10 minutes of the game. Then I cut it off. And then what I would do is I would check the score.
Okay.
And so, fourth quarter, let me see how many minutes was on the clock. It was like, I don't remember. It was 37-30. Do you remember how many minutes was on the clock when it was that score?
Well, actually, not. The game score ended up being 34-31.
34-31? Okay,
yeah,
so maybe I'm thinking of the one. I'm thinking of something else. But anyway, so I remember when they scored the last couple points to win, and I was pissed. I was what? I was hoping for Detroit to actually to win.
Yeah.
Because they haven't won in
they haven't won in a minute.
Yeah, they need that. They need that, for them.
Yeah. I mean, they hadn't won in a minute, man. So, I mean...
And y'all just won last year, right? The whole Super Bowl, or the year before?
See, the thing is, too, the 49ers, we haven't won the Super Bowl since 95. I remember I was 8 years old when we won the Super Bowl.
Oh.
Yeah, so we haven't won either. We've been good. We've been good. Like, we've been close to the Super Bowl. See, the Lions... Detroit haven't
been
even close,
no.
Yeah, so that's the thing. Like they've really I think this was their first year winning a playoff game since like the early 90s.
Right.
See, we've been around, been close, but we just never won one since 95. So, but yeah, it was a good game, man. Like I said, it was crazy because my buddy Shao was over and he was talking so much junk because they got up 24-7. He was even talking junk to my son. It was me, my son, and Sherman and my buddy Shao. We was all sitting there watching in my man cave, and he was even talking a little junk. And then finally, the 49ers ended up coming back and win. And he was just sitting there with his head down. And Niall was all yelling out. It was just funny, man. It was cool. It was a cool moment, man.
That's hilarious.
But yeah, the Niners won, so they're going to the Super Bowl. So I'm excited about that.
Did you get your stuff? Y'all get y'all tickets and stuff?
Yeah. So okay. I got pretty much everything. I got like the hotel, flights, all that stuff's already purchased. Even like they got like a tailgate stuff going on out there too, like party and stuff. So I got the tickets for that. I'm just waiting. I was looking at it. They were saying that it's better to get your actual Super Bowl ticket to the game within about 3 to 5 days from the game because the tickets start to go down in price, as the game gets closer. The people who are selling the tickets, they kind of, I'm going to say panic, but, they want to sell them, you know what I mean? Because initially when the tickets come out, they're obviously really expensive, and they're going to be expensive anyway, but the price does kind of go down as you get closer to the game. So I'm just waiting until probably, maybe next Thursday to purchase my ticket. But yeah, I'm excited for it. So the Niners are going to the bowl. It's going to be tough because we're playing against the Chiefs. Chiefs are been the best team in the last 7-8 years with Patrick Mahomes and, the whole Taylor Swift and all that with Travis Kelce and all that going on. So we'll see.
Did you see what's the guy, the rapper? He was like, man, I'm tired of y'all highlighting Taylor Swift during the game. What's his name? Plies.
Plies.
Yeah.
No, I didn't see that. I see that.
He
I've seen a lot of people
it.
disappointed about, her being mentioned, during the game and them, I guess, putting the camera on her a lot and all that. I mean, I don't know.
And I think she was swag surfing.
She was. After they won one of the games in the playoffs, she was
definitely
swag
that.
surfing. Yeah, I saw that.
I missed it.
That was funny. Because she was in there doing, it was all of them. It was like, because she's sitting up there like with, his family and like, all the players' families and stuff. And it was swag surfing. So that joke was funny. But
I was like, oh, okay.
Right.
But then I saw the Baltimore Ravens players. They swag surfed too.
They did. Yeah, they were making fun of them. That's what they actually did. So I don't know if you caught that, but
no, I had walked away and did some stuff too.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what you were just talking about, the Chiefs, they had won a playoff game, I think the week before, even 2 weeks ago, and like you said, they were I guess the family up top in the club seats were swag surfing, right? And so the Ravens, when they scored a touchdown last week against the Chiefs, they were mimicking them and they were swag surfing, trying to throw it back at them, but they ended up losing. So I guess it kind of, I guess the Chiefs got the last laugh on that one.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So yeah. So we'll see, man. I'm excited though. It should be a fun time. It's a bucket list item for me is to go to the Super Bowl. I went about 4 or 5 years. Oddly enough, about 5 years ago, I went to Miami and the same teams were playing. The Chiefs were playing the 49ers, and I didn't actually get a ticket into the Super Bowl because them joints was crazy expensive and I just didn't have the money to do. I had the money, but it would have been crazy. I was about to have another baby and all that. So they actually had like a nice thing set up outside the stadium. They put it on the screen, and so I watched it.
What year was that?
2019.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, 2019. Yeah, so that was the last time the Niners that went to the Super Bowl and we lost to the Chiefs. So this year, we're playing the exact same team again. Hopefully we can get the revenge and finally get a Super Bowl win since we haven't had one in about 30 years now. So it's crazy.
And how did you become a fan?
Crazy quick story. So my dad is a diehard Dallas Cowboys fan, which, a lot of people are. A lot of people like the Cowboys.
Yeah.
And so it's funny, when I was the same age as my son, when I was 5, my dad had just came home from a deployment. And the Cowboys and the 49ers back in the early 90s were like the two best teams. They would always play each other to try to go to the Super Bowl because they were in the same conference. And so I remember my dad came home from a long deployment, and he was like, hey, son, let's watch this game or whatever. I think my mom was just doing something in the house or whatever. This is when we were living in North Carolina. And I remember Jerry Rice is a receiver for the 49ers. He's known as the best receiver ever to play football. He caught a pass and ran 80 yards and scored a touchdown. And my dad was like, damn, he was mad. And I don't know what made me feel this way, but I was like, you know what? That's my favorite football team right there. I just went against the grain. Instead of adopting the same team that my dad liked, I kind of liked the colors. And I was just like, my dad was pissed. And so it resonated in me. You know what I mean? It was nothing crazy, nothing like, stick that. It was just like that simple situation, I guess you could say. And I was like, that's my favorite team. And I've been a 49ers fan ever since I was 5. So
that's crazy how you can remember that.
Yeah, that's honestly one of my first memories that I can remember. And that's why I love, football so much and love the 49ers, man. But yeah, that was something that me and my dad used to bond over a lot when I was young, because he was in and out a lot. So football and sports was our thing. And so we sat there and watched that game, and he was like, damn, man. He was like, he was mad or something. I was laughing at him. I was a kid. I was like, you know what? I like that team. That's going to be my team, and that's what it's been. So
then in future games, y'all was like against each other at the age of 5? That is so funny.
Yeah, and even
6,
we went,
7.
Yeah, we went to a pretty dope moment we had. This was 3 years ago. Yeah, 3 years ago. This was actually still during the pandemic. The Cowboys and the 49ers played in the playoffs. And so it was in Dallas, Texas. And so me and him went to the game, and that was pretty cool. We both were like, hey, somebody going to be mad on this flight home. And so 49ers actually won. So I was excited about that. We ended up losing later on in the playoffs, but we did beat the Cowboys that game. But it was pretty cool. Me and my dad took a whole bunch of pictures, and just the conversation we had, and he was like, son, this was like really dope. This was like anything I could ever ask for. So it was pretty cool. It was a good time.
That's what's up.
Yeah. But yeah, that was this past weekend. This past week, during the work week, had a couple of closings. We finished out the month of January, the first month of the year. So I had a couple of closings toward the end of this month, which is pretty cool. One of them was actually a refinance, and one was an investor that was buying a property as well. Young guy too. I'm excited for him, man. I think this is his fourth property he's purchased already, and he's military, so he's moved around a couple of places. And we actually did this whole transaction with him in Turkey. So he's in the Air Force. And the whole transaction, he was in Turkey. It was a little difficult trying to get some documentation from him because he had like some lease things and property management things, and just the time difference. It was a little bit difficult trying to manage throughout the transaction, but we were able to get it done. He was super excited. He got a great deal on this particular property. It's just a smaller townhouse in Portsmouth that he's adding to his portfolio. So it was pretty cool. And then
it's funny that you say that because I have one client in Korea right now, one client in Japan right now, and one client in Washington State.
Oh, wow.
All on a huge time difference.
Yeah. It's different. I used to get, emails in the middle of the night, and then I would normally start my day off, like as soon as I come home from the gym, like emailing him back and forth, trying to get what we need. Because typically in the morning time here was like time he got off of work. And then, I would say...
What's the time difference?
I want to say it was like 10 hours, I want to say.
Okay.
Yeah, it was like 10 hours. He told me, I can't remember it. He told me much earlier in the transaction. We've been working at this for like almost 2 months.
Wow.
Yeah. But yeah. So anyway, I would start my day off trying to get, communication with him because he would be asking questions and what stuff that he needed or whatever. And normally around like 11, 12 o'clock during this 11, 12 o'clock, our morning time was like time
His
they were
nighttime.
sleeping. Yeah, they were going to sleep. So I had to kind of knock everything all out for him earlier in the day. But
That's how it was for me. I actually didn't mind it. I was like, okay. Because, you start emailing early in the morning and then they go to sleep.
Yeah.
So you don't have any questions
That's
or
true.
anything.
I guess that's how you look at it. Yeah. Yeah, so you're not just
During the day.
going back and forth. It can kind of get a little, irritable, I guess you could say, irritating. But yeah. So that was pretty cool having those closings, man. I've gotten a good amount of contracts come through over the last couple of weeks. So I'm seeing already for the month of March I had a deal last night that ratified for a person that's buying a house. I've been working with her for like 6 months. Her and her husband have been looking to try to find something like closer to the north end in Virginia Beach. So they got something for $795 on the contract last night. And then it's crazy. So the barbershop I used to go to, there was a guy in there that I helped. I built a house. Actually, the first house I ever built was in Portsmouth, Virginia, right there by the shipyard. And I was having a conversation with the barber that was next to the guy who used to cut my hair. And I was telling him about this house I was building. He actually ended up buying that house. And so I've kept a good, line of communication with him over the years. And him and his fiance, they hit me up like 2-3 weeks ago. They have a young daughter now that's 2. And they were saying that, hey, they're looking to get something, bigger now, right? Mm-hmm. And so it was funny. I met them. They came to the office on Monday. We sat there for like an hour. It was good to see them. I just love to, they're like 31. I think he's 31 and she's 30. So I love to be around folks that's trying to do the right thing, be in that right direction. I mean, they bought a house already. They're looking to try to expand, and they're both doing well. Both work at the shipyard. That's where they met at. And actually, they're also interracial too, because Zach's he's white and she's black, so it's pretty cool too. But it was funny because I was having a conversation with them, and he was like, man, you spoiled me the first time because the house that he currently lives in and they currently live in is a house that I built. And actually, we got him under contract early enough where he pretty much picked out all the finishes. Like, he custom pretty much the whole house for the most part, right? And so he was like, they were looking at the options of, construction to perm and, looking at, maybe buying some land and getting the house built and doing all those things to try to have it done by the end of the year. And so that's what we kind of sat down and talked about. And I said, you know what? I said, every single time I talk to somebody and they say, hey, they want to buy something and it's like 6 months, 9 months away, they ended up buying something within that first month. Like I was like, it's weird how people say, hey, I want to buy something later, and they end up finding something immediately that piques their interest, and then they, then that's what happens or whatever. Versus the people who say, hey, I want to buy now, they end up taking a lot longer. I don't know why that dynamic is. I think me and you have talked about that before. Mm-hmm. You said you experienced that sometimes too, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I had that conversation with him on Monday. These jokers called me on Wednesday night, like, yo, Bryan.
They found a house.
I found this house, man, and I love it. And you know what? It's actually, I'm going to show you, it's actually in the, I want to say it's in your neighborhood, man. Let me show you real quick. Because let me see. Yeah, he said it's right behind, like, I guess an area that does that look familiar to you at all?
It may be,
He said it's behind a department store that a lot of people go to.
Yeah, so that might be like on the back side of me.
Okay,
yeah.
Okay, I got you.
So not my exact one, but there's another neighborhood that's right there, and it's all dead end like mine. It's like you can't access. You have to come my way. Yeah, I wish I would have saw it.
Yeah, it looked pretty good.
How much is it?
$520.
Yeah,
it looked pretty good. It's fully renovated.
Nice.
Yeah, and it got like a he said because he has 3 cars. Well, he has 2 cars, and his fiance has a third.
Nice backyard.
Car. So he had like a detached garage and stuff, so they can have for their cars and stuff. But it's funny. So he called me Wednesday night. He was like, bruh, you ain't lying. We found something, dog. I was like, for real? And he was like, yeah. So they actually put an offer on the house last night. And so, fingers crossed for them. Yeah, because it is a multiple offer situation. So they put like an escalation clause. That's a nice house. Yeah. It's a multiple offer situation. So they put an escalation clause on it or whatnot. But that one is going to probably close in March. I got a new construction that's closing in March. And I got that one that just went under contract.
So what's going to happen with the house that they have?
They're just gonna rent it out.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they're gonna rent it out. Yeah. So yeah, like I said, this so far this year, I mean, it's been starting off pretty well. I made some new connections with some referral partners. I have some meetings coming up with some potential referral partners. We have an event that we are gonna be having here at the end of the month. We had last year Margarita Day, I guess you could say, National Margarita Day at the end of the month. We have like a nice little networking event that we'll do. So yeah, I mean, I'm excited, man. Things have definitely been looking up so far.
I seen Mark at the gym, and I told Mark about it.
Oh, you did? Okay, cool.
Yeah,
cool.
I just so happened to see him. It was because I never see him at the gym.
Yeah.
But I went to the gym at like 12:30, which I never do. Right? Mm-hmm. Usually I go a little bit earlier than that.
Yeah.
And I went, and oh my gosh! So you've been to One Life, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. So typically, for the most part, I work out downstairs. Unless I push the shovel, the sled, yeah. Right? Mm-hmm. So I was like, okay, I want to work on legs. I could do that downstairs, but some of the machines are upstairs on the weight side where usually all the men be.
Yeah.
Right? So I decided that I was going to do my cardio first and then go upstairs. When I walked up those back steps, the very last steps that you could take to go upstairs, it was so packed up there. I walked out the gym. I was like, I completely walked across, down, and out. I was like, this is ridiculous. I would never come during this time ever again. Like,
you said it was afternoon, lunchtime?
Lunchtime.
Oh, wow.
Lunchtime. Yeah. Packed.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, for me, I've been one of those people, man, like, 'cause I used to have a membership to One Life, and, like, I've never been a person in the time when I used to have a membership to One Life, I used to go early in the morning. I've always been an early morning workout person. Like, I work out now at, 5:30 in the morning time. That's typically the time I work out. But I've never liked working out in those big, huge gyms like that. You know what I'm saying? Whereas a lot of people be there. Like, I've never been that fond of that. Like, I've always liked your smaller gyms. Obviously, I want to make sure you have all the different weights in there, but I've always liked the smaller gyms because, like you said, I mean, just the big gyms, man, they just got, especially like One Life. One Life is good. I'm nothing against One Life. I mean, but it's just so many people. So many people have memberships there, especially this time of the year. Like you said, I mean, we talked about, everybody got their New Year's resolution. People trying to stay fit, go to the gym more. So it's just too much, man. It's just way, way too much.
But I was just shocked to see, people at the gym at that time of the day because
Yeah.
usually people are working and things like that, right?
A lot of people work
So
from home
just-
now too, man.
that's
Some people go on their
true.
lunch break and going for a quick
Yeah.
workout. You know, 'cause
But
morning
like
they
the
got
time
kids
that I
and stuff.
usually go, typically I go before our morning meeting. So like I drop off Carter, go hit the gym, come back home,
Yeah.
and then I'm ready for the first meeting of the day.
Yeah.
That's typically what I do. And during that time, it ain't that bad. I mean, it's people in there, but it's really not that bad. Like I can go and work out and there's nobody next to me. It may be like 2, maybe 3 people in my immediate area, which is great.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like that it's the same as when you're at a smaller gym.
Yeah, yeah.
No different, right?
Yeah, for sure.
But this particular day, I messed up and went at 12:30 or something like that. And I was like, oh my gosh, I would never, ever, ever, ever go during that time ever again. And I don't purposely go in the evening for the same reasons.
Yeah. I've never
Because
been
when
there.
I'm doing a squat, I don't want like 10 people looking at me. I already feel like I don't know it's been a minute, so I feel like I don't know what I'm doing. And so then for, eyes to be on me, I'm like, nah.
Yeah, I've never been the evening. Like, I've always liked working out to start my day. Like, I've never been like, by the evening time, 5, 6 o'clock, I'm kind of drained. So I'm like, I'm not really in the mood to like power up and work out.
When I was on my fitness journey before, when I lost like 50, 60 pounds, 45, 50 pounds, I worked out in the evenings.
Yeah. I mean,
it was just easier.
A lot of people. I mean, it depends on your schedule. I mean, I'm just.
I actually did
about
2-a-days too back then. I would get up in the morning
Mm-hmm.
and do cardio and then do weights at night.
Yeah.
I would do stuff like that sometimes, but
Mm-hmm.
because I lived in South Florida and when I lived downtown, I couldn't go running because it was hot during the day and the evening.
Mm-hmm.
And then I also didn't want to go running in the morning because it was still dark,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm a woman, so I don't want to go out and run at night or in the morning, but when it's dark.
Yeah.
So
Matter
I
of
just
fact,
split it up and went to the gym.
I know it's been a couple weeks. I remember I meant to mention this to you. I remember we had talked about Brickell before. Did you hear like a couple weeks ago they seen like aliens or like some weird stuff in Brickell? Did you hear about that?
Mm-hmm.
What was up with that? Do you know?
I don't know. I didn't,
okay. Yeah.
When it comes to aliens and all that stuff,
Yeah, I was like, well, like, and that's the same. It was literally, I think it was like right after we had that podcast when we were talking about Brickell. It was like the next couple of days that came up, and I meant to mention that to you. But when you just
I used to
Miami,
work in Brickell.
Yeah, when you just saying Miami, that made me think about. I was like, I never saw what came from that, but it was like a lot of people were talking about like it was like something they really saw. So I was like, what?
When I watch the video, because what I do is when I'm on social media, sometimes I scroll with no sound.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't hear when I saw that. I didn't hear what was going on, but I also didn't see anything in the video. Whatever they saw, I didn't see. So
yeah, I didn't even see a video. I just heard people talking
going.
about it. I just heard. I think because I got a group chat. I may have been in a group chat or something. I may have seen it on social media. I didn't see any videos of actual activity like that. I just heard people talking about it. So I was like, I remember that was the same area that you said that you were around. So I was just curious. But but also speaking of social media. I saw a couple of things I seen this past week. Megan Thee Stallion and Nicki Minaj, two, I would say, female rappers, women rappers that are kind of at the top of the game when it comes to, the women rapping. They got beef. They got beef. I don't know exactly what happened. I heard they both had diss tracks. I'm going to try to listen to them today. But I heard Nicki Minaj's track was terrible. And I heard Megan Thee Stallion's track wasn't that far behind her, but I heard they both were bad and they got real beef. They coming at each other hard. So I see one joke. It was kind of funny because I don't know very much about her situation, but I know I guess Nicki Minaj's husband is like considered like a child. What do you call it? Pedophile, right? Mm-hmm. So he's like registered, I guess, as a pedophile or whatever.
Sex offender.
Yeah, sex offender. There you go. Yeah. So somebody had posted on social media was like, Nicki, you really childish for this, for rapping, making a diss song against Megan. She was like, you keep acting this childish, you gonna have to get out the house from your husband because he can't be around the children or childish behavior. So I forget how they worded it, but it was so funny, man. When I seen that joke, I was like, yo, that is hilarious.
So
did you hear anything about that? Did you listen to the track?
Yeah, I heard. Well, I haven't listened to the full track. of both of them.
Yeah.
But I've heard the clips that they play on social media.
Okay.
And so based on what I heard, and I also listened to Charlamagne the God and DJ Envy's interview, they basically spoke to Megan Thee Stallion the morning that it was going to be dropped.
Okay.
And so they asked her who was the song about, and she was like, it's not about anybody in particular, but if you get offended, then it applies to you, type of thing.
The shoe fits where? Basically.
Yep, basically.
yeah.
And so I think it dropped on like a Friday morning or something like that. And then Nicki tweeted trying to get back at Meg Thee Stallion for the whole weekend.
Okay.
And then all the things that she tweeted, she put that in a song. So that's the reason why people are saying that it was horrible. It was because it wasn't original. So like she basically took everything that she tweeted that everybody liked and then put those same exact words into a song. And so everybody's like, well, you should have came harder than that. I mean, how you going to reuse your material? That's not, you know. And then on top of that, she talks about Meg having big feet. Because she's a taller girl, like I think she's like 6 foot. So obviously, if you're a 6 foot woman, you ain't got little feet, right?
Yeah.
So they kept talking about Bigfoot something, and I guess the way it was sounding, it kind of reminded you of Dr. Seuss.
Okay.
1 fish, 2 fish, red
Oh,
fish,
yeah,
blue fish, big foot, little foot. Yeah, that type of. And so everybody was like, "This is dumb. Like, why are you even?" talking about this, but Meg never ever said anything about like Nicki specifically. But I guess if, like you said, if the shoe fits, Nicki put it on and wore it. She wore that big shoe.
He said she wore that big shoe. Dang, that's crazy. Yeah, I didn't listen to any of the songs, man. Because if I heard it was hot, I would have probably tried to like make time for it. I've been pretty busy, so. But I was like, everybody kept saying it was whack, so I was just like, whatever. And it seemed stupid, man. I don't know.
And the part that I don't like is you know, Nicki obviously got a lot of fans. I really stopped being a fan of Nicki Minaj once she started beefing with Cardi B. Yeah. Because I felt like
I felt like she felt that she was a threat, like she was hot coming up,
and I ain't like that.
Yeah, and I think
you shouldn't be like that just because. I mean, you gonna hold your crown if it's really truly meant for you to have it, right?
You nice.
So you can't hate on other people who are coming up, and I didn't like that. So that made me kind of look at Nicki from a different perspective, and ever since then she's been that way. Yeah, I mean, she's been a hater since then.
Yeah, that's how I'm about to say that's how she. But that's how I feel like she is too, man. You know what I mean? Like I feel like, you know, like I remember one of my homeboys. I would always have this conversation with people. It's like, you know. I kind of equate what that is to like, you know, making money and being an entrepreneur. It's like there's enough money out here for everybody to do whatever their goals or whatever they're you know aspiring to do. So it's like you don't gotta hate on the next man or you know just you know whatever to the next person to try to elevate yourself. Like that's whack. That's corny. And I do feel like that's kind of how Nicki has approached the other women rappers that are coming up.
She even came at what Remy Ma, I think it is.
Remy Ma had a crazy diss track on her. I don't even think Nicki responded to that joint. Like
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, because Remy can go. She can rap. She can rap for real.
Yeah, she's a street rapper. I mean, she's a battle rapper.
Yeah.
So she's known for going for the jugular.
Yeah, I remember. I think she rapped on like the Ether beat or something like that, the Nas Ether beat, and she went ham. And like I don't think Nicki responded to that joint.
Probably did.
Yeah.
Probably didn't. But I didn't like how she influenced. I can't say that she directly, you know, advised them to go and potentially try to find Meg Thee Stallion's mother's grave. But whatever she did, it influenced her fans to try and do that. And I think that, and they say that, you know, there's no...
That sounds like some Trump stuff. That's what that sounds like. January 6th, you know, he tried to say he won't, like, influencing people to go riot on the Capitol. Yeah, that's exactly what it sounds like.
That's exactly what I'm talking about.
When we know what you were doing.
It's an influence. You don't have to say anything. It's all about how you perpetuate it, right?
Yeah, for sure.
But, so I didn't like that.
Yeah.
You know, it's one thing to do a battle beef between me and you, but you can't start including, like, the dead, like But you know, I mean, Nicki don't really have boundaries. It sound like, I mean, she's in a relationship with someone who can never go and participate in a school activity.
Yeah, that's tough.
And she riding.
Yeah, that's tough, man. That's tough. Another thing, and we'll get into you know, the mortgage and real estate things that we've seen this past week. But I seen, since this is a hometown guy, I wanted to bring this up to you. I make sure I wasn't biased or nothing like that. But I seen a conversation on social media about who's currently more relevant, Chris Brown or Quavo.
Oh.
So it was a lot of big back and forth. Like,
I'm the wrong person to ask this.
Why are you the wrong person to ask that for?
Because I know music, I don't know artists.
You don't know them two people?
I know who Chris Brown is.
You don't know who Quavo is? Oh, for real? Oh, wow. Okay.
Like, I mean, I know the name.
That speaks for itself then, right there.
I know his name, but
that's
I don't.
Cool.
I don't know.
That answers the question for me.
Okay.
Because that's what it means. Like, even if you're not an everyday person who's really listening to music and checking for people, like, you know who Chris Brown is, right?
I do.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing. Is like, so.
But I also think of it from a perspective of that's who I grew up on, right?
Yeah.
A lot of the new artists, because Quavo's new, right?
Nah, Quavo's the lead rapper of the Migos. You know, Migos been around for 10, 15 years. Yeah.
Migos is the one that Cardi B husband's in?
Yeah. Offset. Remember the Takeover, he passed away. He got killed in Houston like.
Okay, I remember him passing away.
Yeah, Quavo was the one he was dating
Does he
Sweetie.
sing?
Quavo was around.
No.
You know who Quavo is. I'm gonna show you a picture. You know who Quavo is. Come on now, Sophie.
I know they all got dreads.
You ain't that far removed
or
from
had dreads. I know the music. I don't know the people. I'm telling you.
You know Quavo.
Oh, he sing?
He rap. Are you serious? Versace. You remember that song Versace?
Yes.
Yeah. That's them.
Okay.
Yeah. Quavo. You know Quavo.
He looks like a dude that sings.
I mean,
he looks like
do. But I mean, you know who Migos is, right?
Yes.
Migos is actually looked at as, and it's kind of, I mean, as far as like hip hop rap group, they one of the top groups of all time.
I mean, but how many groups are there?
There's not a whole bunch, but there are though. I mean, there's Wu-Tang. I mean, you got.
You can't count. I mean,
that's hip hop, right? That's rap.
Okay.
I mean, you got Wu-Tang, Mobb Deep. I mean, you got. I mean,
all these people you're naming are like from 20, 30, 50 years ago.
But that's my point, though. Like, I'm talking about, like, if you, like, look at the history and amount of, you know, record sales and all that, like, Migos is up there with, you know, some of these legendary groups. You know what I mean? Migos is considered a legend, like, of this time, of our last 10, 15 years, Migos is looked at as the best hip-hop rap group.
Okay.
Yeah, but
I
you answered my question, though.
Jacques something.
Yeah.
Don't they look alike?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, that's what I'm thinking of when you first said that. I
just thought Migos and Quavo have put out so much music. I'm surprised that you didn't even know who he was.
So I guess I'm gonna say Chris Brown.
There we go. That's cool because a lot of people, like what you said, like we kind of grew up. We're the same age. We grew up like, you know, listening to Chris Brown when he was young. And then even to this day, Chris Brown to me still makes really good music. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So it's but I'm from Virginia, you know, and so I could be considered a homer. Chris Brown's from Virginia. And Quavo is from Atlanta. You know, Migos, they grew. Yeah. They've made hot music over the last 10, 12 years. I think that Versace song is really what put them out there back in like 2010, 2011 or whatever. And so, so a lot of people, I seen a lot of debate. Some people were saying Quavo. Some people were saying Chris Brown's not relevant anymore. And so I just wanted to ask you.
I mean, Chris Brown I feel like after the whole situation with Rihanna, he just kind of decided to lay low. Yeah. You know? Yeah.
But he was kind of blackballed a little bit. He was kind of forced to lay low. I mean, a lot of the people and companies wouldn't mess with him. Yeah. You know? I mean, which I understand. I mean, that makes sense. I mean, that was a big public situation. And it was pretty ugly, you know. So yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I would have to
so Chris
go
Brown.
for
2 Chris Brown votes.
You're Chris Brown too? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know.
Yeah, that's why I was saying I wanted to get a knock. I didn't want to feel like I was being biased because Chris Brown's from Virginia. You know what I'm saying? So I wanted to ask somebody like you who's not from Virginia. You know, I know you didn't have a bias towards it or whatever. So,
no,
you know,
absolutely.
And I figured because you was down living in like Miami, I know that's Migos like that. They was down there like I mean that's more of their. You know, thing, and they've been popping. I mean, they've been popping for a while. So
yeah, you couldn't. I mean, with you mentioning Versace, I do know that song. Yeah. You know, but I could not name 3 Quavo songs.
Gotcha. Well, it's the group. I mean, it's not
Migos.
Yeah, I mean, he makes individual music. He's rapping on it, but I mean, he's known as the lead
But
rapper
I
of
can't
Migos.
name 3 Migos songs.
Gotcha.
I probably know 3. There's
Yeah.
a difference.
Correct.
I probably know 3 Migos
I know you
songs.
know. I know you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I can't name them.
Yeah.
I can't say, oh yeah, what about this song and this song? But I can name 3 Chris Brown songs.
Absolutely. Shout out to my man C Breezy, man. I seen him. He was at something in the water, man, this past year, man. Shout out to C Breezy, man. VA, what up? All right, we could jump into.
He made men dancing a thing. I feel like like popping dancing, like
yeah. Well, I mean, Usher too. I mean, I feel like both of them. I would have loved to seen them have like.
But Usher was more of a
Usher pop bands too.
I never seen him like. I don't know.
Well, I mean, no. Chris Brown was more like
he was more of a house party. We go get down and dance.
Yeah.
Usher was more of an organizer. Like he can dance, but he's more of a choreographer type of dancer.
I agree.
Chris Brown is more of a freestyle dancer, and he does like the dancing with people.
Yeah, I think he's the GOAT when it comes to that. To be honest with you,
yeah,
he's the GOAT for that, man.
Yeah,
I mean,
he's the one that kind of. Open that up, I feel like.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree with you on that one for sure. Yeah, I would love to see them do a dance off back in their both of their hair day. Matter of fact, I heard I'm not surprised because of the Usher performing at the Super Bowl. I heard a song when I was driving in here this morning. Usher had a new song come out. It was actually pretty dope as well. So I know I'm not surprised he's putting out new music obviously before the big performance he has next week. So
that makes a whole lot of sense.
Yeah.
But Usher, I think he stopped dancing how he used to because if I'm not mistaken, and don't quote me, I think I'm right, but I could be a little bit wrong. I probably have a little bit of this information wrong, but he like broke his ankle or did something. I
kind of remember something like
with
that.
His ankle that
kind of messed up. Yeah, I kind of remember something like that.
Yeah. So it kind of stopped him from being able to do some of those things that he used to do with his feet.
Mm-hmm.
But. Still legendary though. I can't wait for his performance. I do want to. It's a couple people that I want to see in concert, and I'm not even a concert person.
Yeah,
I want to see Beyonce one day. I've never seen her. Never been to a concert. One day I'll probably go. Don't know when. And then I'm mad that I missed out being able to see Usher, and when he did his residency in Vegas.
Yeah,
I really wanted to go, but. Unfortunately, it just didn't align. Like when I remember last year when I went to Houston for my birthday, I actually wanted to go and see Usher. That was like what I wanted to do. Mm-hmm. But his residency had ended like July 15th-ish.
Yeah.
And so I wasn't able to go. So then we defaulted to Houston. But I wish I would have seen it.
Yeah, I remember because I went last year around that same time. I went to the fight. It was Earl Spence and Terrence Crawford fight the last weekend in July, and the same thing. Like if Usher was performing during his residency still at that time, I would have definitely checked him out. They actually, when I was there, they still had a lot of his like stuff like out, like as far as like how they put like.
Well, he came back in October.
Yeah.
So he just took like a hiatus. Yeah. Probably because it was hot as hell in Vegas. I mean,
really hot.
I mean, there's no reason to be out and about during those months.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But yeah, I know we talked about a whole bunch of BS as we always say. So we're going to get into a couple of things we saw that was mortgage and real estate related. I know this past week on Wednesday, the Fed met, and then we saw that they did not change they didn't change the Fed rate at all. So that was kind of what everyone expected.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously a lot of people are anticipating the Fed rate to be cut a couple of times this year. It'd have been great if they would have cut them, this past time, but it wasn't what everyone was expecting. Most people are expecting that to start happening, here in the next couple of months, maybe sometime in the spring or summertime.
Yeah.
Some of the verbiage that they spoke about, and even when Powell spoke after the fact and he was getting asked questions, it seemed like, they're still not quite where they want to be when it comes to the inflation numbers are still not quite there. So it sounds like they're not going to cut the rate like next month or in March, because that's kind of what everyone was hoping. Mm-hmm. It seemed like it's going to be a little bit further of the delay when it comes to that. But it does. He did double down in saying that there will be multiple not hikes, but multiple cuts this year. So
Don't say hikes.
Yeah, I don't want to say that. I'm so used to seeing it, before last year. But yeah, so that was actually really good news. Them kind of doubling down, even though they're saying it may be a couple more months before we see it happen. Them doubling down, saying that it most likely will happen this year, and there'll be multiple of them. And so we actually got. And I don't know if you saw, because I had a couple of deals that I locked that we're trying to close at the end of this month now, February. That was the last day of January. So I did a couple of locks where rates actually, because of that information that came out, rates actually dropped a little bit. So that was actually pretty good.
Yeah, I had to lock in a rate a couple days ago. I got it at a VA at a 5.75.
That's good.
So yeah,
that's really good. Yeah, that's really good. Yeah.
So I was able to get that, and then I did see where rates had gotten better.
Yeah.
But I don't have anything else to lock. So I did see, because I have MBS Highway, so I saw where rates we were in the green.
Yeah.
But I didn't go and physically look at rates.
Yeah.
For anybody, because I don't have anybody that's actively under contract. I did get some pre-approvals out. But those are VHDA, so
yeah. I had this one buyer, man. We were having this conversation because it's new construction. His closing date is March 27th, I believe. It's like very close to the very end of March. And so when the rate information, or when the rates dropped, we're basically, as of earlier this week, we were within a 60-day window where we can do a 60-day lock. And for folks out there, I want to kind of explain it to you. You probably don't understand. I want to kind of speak over your head, but when you get under contract, we can lock your interest rate in, right? And locking your interest rate is typically for a specific time frame. So 30 days, 45 days, 60 days, 90 days. Those are kind of the intervals. Typically, when we get a contract, most of them try to close within 30 days. So, you're doing the 30-day lock, or you try to watch rates and kind of map it out to once the closing date is within 30 days of when you lock that rate, right?
Right.
But this particular buyer is new construction, so their house is not going to be done until the end of March.
Mm-hmm.
And so we were trying to we were having a conversation, and we were like, hey, we've seen rates dip on Wednesday. So is this a good time? And so we're like, hey, I was like, I think you should lock it. He was like, so we did not lock it. He wants to kind of see what things, how things happen over the next couple of weeks, because rates have been trending in the right direction. And he's thinking that we'll get some, another drop between now and March. I was like, hey, man, if it goes up, just letting you know. But I'm safe. I'm a safe person when it comes, especially if you're comfortable with where the payment would be right now. Sometimes I feel like folks try to get a little bit greedy when it comes to it, and it backfires.
So it's funny that you say that, because I had a buyer that was under contract. She was supposed to close December 22nd.
Mm-hmm.
But her house that she was selling was under contract and then fell from under contract.
Okay.
And so it just so happened that the house that she was buying here, nobody had made any offers on it.
Okay.
So they allowed her to stay under contract she's been under contract since November on this same house.
November?
Because her close date was supposed to be December 22nd. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So when we initially locked her in, it was a 30-day lock. Rate was 6.75.
Yeah.
She was paying a discount point for that rate, because back then that's where rates were.
Yeah.
And so her rate expired. Well, whenever a rate expires, if the market gets better, in order for you to lock in at the current market rate, you have to wait 30 days.
Yep.
Otherwise, there's a whole rule behind that. I'm not going to go into it, but there's a rule behind it, right? So we had to wait the 30 days. But if rates got worse, then you could relock at what she originally was in,
Correct.
Basically, And so I told her the information. I was like, they're predicting that rates are going to go down. It's up to you, depending on what you want to do. And she was like, you know what? At this point, everything's up in the air. We can just go ahead and wait, because she wasn't closing until February.
Okay.
And so we were able to get her to 5.75. So her rate, her rate.
That's the whole point.
Dropped by an entire point.
That's a win.
Plus, she's not paying as much as she was going to originally pay. So
that's a win. Sometimes things fall in your lap, as they say, or fall in your favor. So that's what's up.
It actually worked out for her. I was happy for her.
Yeah, that's what's up.
Yeah,
that's what's up. Yeah, so that's happened this week. I know today also the jobs report is supposed to come out. We started recording right when right when that information was being released. So I don't have any information on it yet. I'm gonna take a look at it after we finish the podcast today and see what rates did and what kind of information was on there. I was told it's probably not gonna be the greatest information on there, so we may have a bounce up in rate because of that. But we'll see. We'll see what happens though. So
and it makes sense because when a jobs report came out last month. Mm-hmm. That was for December.
Yeah.
And so usually, a lot of companies, they hire during the holidays. But those people, they don't actually stop working until sometime in January. Mm-hmm. And so now with this jobs report coming out, it's reflecting on January's numbers. Mm-hmm. So it can go both ways. Yeah. I think it's a 50% chance that it'll be good or it'll be bad.
Yeah.
In this particular situation. But hopefully it stays good because we don't need any more rates to go up. We need them to stay where they are or lower.
Yes. I definitely agree with you on that one for sure. So I mean, we'll see what happens. But I'm like I said, I'm excited for the year, man. I feel like this year it's going to be a good year. I've seen all the signs there. And I'm just excited, man. I'm excited. I love this entrepreneur life, man. I know it's, a lot of people get scared when things are slow and all of that, man. But I get excited, man, because it just gives me newfound energy. Because sometimes when things are great and everybody's doing good, it's like you get kind of lackadaisical. You kind of just, go with whatever. Things are just rolling. But, the people who really are, the top of their craft, you're going to see it when things, hit some rock, a little rocky here and there. And that's what we went through this past year. But I feel like we're kind of out of that now, and things are looking up. So I'm excited.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Well, I would say, we've kind of got to the end of our time today. I wish we could have touched on a little bit more topics.
Yeah, we had a lot of BS we was talking about.
Yeah, a lot more
BS.
A lot more BS. But next week, next month. Look, I'm trying to put us out a whole month from now.
Hey, shoot, they got Black History Month, the smallest month in the year. So next week might be next month. You don't know. You know what I'm saying?
Oh Lord.
I don't know. That's how they got us. I don't know. We'll see.
Well, again, guys, you can catch me at SKB_mortgage on Facebook and Instagram.
Yep, and you can catch me at Bryan, BRYAN_Royster on Instagram and Facebook as well.
All right, guys, we will see you next week.
See you next week.